And in those early days, were there people around you that supported your, probably quite out there on a limb, your thinking was a little different to the people around you. How did you gain your support?
Truthfully, that first year, you know, there's an expression in kind of Oriental culture, beginner's mind, how to keep a beginner's mind. And I've never lost beginner's mind. I can remember that first year of macrobiotics for me. And if there wasn't that network of other friends doing it and wanting to learn about it, I don't know that I could have stayed with it on my own, because there's just so many variations that can happen in that first year. And it was a great support network. I moved to Boston and lived in a study house, and everyone was trying to do their best with macrobiotics, and then it was being done very extremely, which was a little crazy anyway. And that might have made it more difficult, actually. So my beginner's mind is to respect that people can have more volatility that first year and need encouragement and reminders and support on the one hand. But I think part of my volatility in that first year was because macrobiotics was being done so extremely narrow. And I'm much more flexible in the application of macrobiotics with people, so that they have a concrete, easier go of it in that first year.
And then that makes it more accessible to people, and it's not so threatening.
Right, exactly. And
because there is an emotional relationship with the food.
Absolutely. That is the key to long-term success with macrobiotics, right there. Because anybody can say, for whatever reason, I'm going to eat this diet or that diet, whatever diet it is, as long as they're thinking that mentality of diet, and they can do it for a certain amount of time, but they can't do it for a long period of time that is sustainably useful in their life without facing the emotional relationship to food. And in my opinion, macrobiotics has not, well, let me say it positively, has needs to embrace how food can satisfy our emotional needs. And if it isn't in that eating, if there aren't the right qualities of sweet and other flavors that people gravitate for comfort food, emotional stability, then they're not going to stay with it. And macrobiotics can and must satisfy all of our emotional swings that we instinctively turn to food for, without going to chocolate and extreme sugary things or soft drinks. And there's ways to adjust a diet so that they can have the sweet, can find sensory satisfaction.
I would say that was the biggest revelation for me personally, was that there are sweeteners within the macrobiotic world that can address those kind of cravings, but at the same time be quite supportive of your health.
Right, exactly.
Grain sweeteners in particular.
Right, fruits, dried fruits.
Stewed as well.
Yeah, so there's a variety of things there.
So, do you believe that it's possible to eat in restaurants with your friends who are going out for a meal, for a bit of a party? Is it possible to do that and still be macrobiotic?
Absolutely. It's easy, actually. I think some people in macrobiotics get very, who really made that commitment to healthier eating, get them very afraid that they're going to be way thrown off. But here's my answer to that. And it's really kind of a different way of approaching it. What I encourage people to do is first remember that that's not everyday eating, it's special, occasional eating. Number two, make your best choices. There's always choices people are making around food. Make your best choices for yourself, not for the group you're with. And then be free, if it's a restaurant, to really make it clear to a waiter or waitress, oh, I don't want it real spicy, or I don't want sugar added, or whatever it is. And then enjoy the food. And then learn from the experience. If you get a headache later, or something, some kind of acute minor symptom, then you can learn, oh, certain foods cause certain effects. And then we're learning what works for us and what doesn't individually. But absolutely, we need to go out with friends and feel relaxed. But you don't have to eat exactly what they're eating.
So it sounds to me that you can tailor macrobiotics on a very personal level, so it can address your needs as well as support your health, but on a very individual basis. So I was wondering, does macrobiotics encompass the field of healing? Can it be a useful tool within the field of healing?
Macrobiotics, in a way, got its claim to fame, you could say, its notoriety in the public domain because of its help powerfully with serious illness, particularly cancer. And while I've seen thousands of people with cancer and helped many, and it can be very profound healing, and it can help everyday life problems too. It doesn't have to be just cancer at such serious level. There's we need to understand that food is part of the cause of disease, and therefore it is part of the healing of disease. Whether that's the most serious like cancer, or the more chronic like arthritis, or the more acute like the menstrual cramp or the headache. Food does play a role in any problem. The difference to me is that macrobiotic literature overstates it. Macrobiotic literature per se, or in the broad level, asserts that food is totally the cause, and therefore totally the healing. But my way of saying it is, food is never more than 49% the cause, and therefore never more than 49% the healing. In other words, it's not enough to fully cause disease or fully reverse disease. That we need other factors that include emotional, lifestyle, breathing, exercise, spiritual. And then those make up the 51%, you might say.
And is macrobiotics only really for, could it be only for rich people, the pop stars? I know Madonna is keen on macrobiotics, or used as a tool of healing. Do you feel that it's expensive, macrobiotics?
Right. It's for everyone, and it's really like a simple peasant diet. It's a simple, natural dietary set of practices. There's nothing complicated. What makes it seem ritzy or more exclusive is that it talks about certain foods that aren't known so much in the West, like miso or tamari or umeboshi, a few new food items for many people. But they are not actually consumed a lot, even if they cost a little extra. It's not like you eat a pound of miso a week. It's very little that's consumed on a daily basis. And those foods, specifically miso, tamari, umeboshi, and I would add kuzu, which people might not know about, but it's a thickener. I call them gifts from the Orient. Gifts to the West. That is, they can really benefit our body's health. And even though they're new, they're very special. And what do we give to the East? We give them Coca-Cola and foods that they don't need, McDonald's, hamburgers. But that's what they want.